We're back. So is Rod Martin. We're getting the benefit of his free range mind on a variety of topics of mutual interest and importance, I believe, to, well, among other things, the security of our country. And that is certainly true when it comes to not just access to space, but also the use thereof, and specifically the use that might be made of the moon, towards which 4 brave American astronauts are now rocketing, having successfully loosed the surly bounds of Earth, to coin a phrase, yesterday as we speak. Rod, the launch of the Artemis was incredibly moving, I have to say. I literally wept as I watched it get, out of the gravitational pull of the Earth. It augurs well, I think, for an incredibly important competition that, as you know, has serious national security implications, namely not only who will get to the moon first, ourselves or China, but also what use will be made by those who get there first. Talk to us about the security and other implications of this Artemis flight, sir.
Well, first, it is incredibly moving, and I realize that it is probably not so much as Apollo 8 was in 1968 before I was born, because no one had ever done it before then. But the truth is, we haven't done it since December of '72. So I was 3 years old when people last went to the moon. And by the way, American people, only American people have ever gone, and only American people are going today. And that's really quite an extraordinary achievement for our country, and something of which we should be justly proud in our 250th anniversary year of independence. Now, having said that, why are we going this way with this rocket? Artemis is based upon, at this point, the SLS system. SLS is an entirely expendable system. Not one jot or tittle of this mission will be reusable. And it's just kind of horrifying from a cost perspective. We're spending between $2 and $4 billion per launch for something that we don't get anything back of the vehicle. We're going to get a lot of science. This is really worthwhile, but we have better coming. I mean, this is very much like going somewhere in a covered wagon when there's a race car going to be available about 2 years later. And it is about 2 years. Elon Musk's Starship is a game changer. That's a fully reusable system. You go from a couple billion a launch to a couple million overnight, and you have a fully reusable system that you can use again and again and again and again, and not just for the one thing either. Elon is gearing up to build between 300 and 1,000 Starships per year. His aim is not just to go to Mars. His aim is also to revolutionize transport here on Earth. So, you could, with 1,000 Starships, you could move the entire 3rd Infantry Division to Saudi Arabia, not in 6 months like in 1990, but in an hour. And it just changes everything. We're on the cusp of that. But it's extremely important that Artemis 2 go to the moon right now, get ahead of the Chinese, don't let them capture that propaganda advantage, because it really is a civilizational thing at stake. People around the world look and see and say, as Kennedy and Johnson understood, wow, communism must work better if they win. And it's important that we keep leadership and that we get there firstest with the mostest.
Ken, I just say, I think all of that is true. And I believe it's important for our consideration as to the priority we assign to all of this. And the idea that, we might have thousands of these rockets and spaceships and so on cranked out like sausages is breathtaking, really, when you think about how far from that we have been for most of the interval since we stopped going to the moon, Rod. But talk to us about the implications from a security point of view if the Chinese do in fact do what they seem set on, which is to get to the south pole of the moon,
Yes.
specifically, firstest with the mostest, and perhaps establish a capability from whatever facility they put there to prevent other people from using the moon, landing on the moon, overflying the moon, and some of the cislunar space activity as well, as a assertion of their ultimate power projection.
We have to start thinking in terms of astropolitics, not merely geopolitics. We actually have to start thinking about key pieces of real estate that are going to matter. And you don't have to think about this the way you did 500 years ago or 150 years ago, where there are a bunch of people there and, you're going to make treaties with them or you're going to subjugate them or whatever. No, all this real estate is empty. So whoever grabs it gets it. And there's no moral encumbrance to it. The Chinese understand perfectly the value of the south pole of the moon, which is the most valuable piece of real estate in reach right now. Why? Because it has water. And yeah, it's not liquid water, but who cares? We figured out this fire thing a while ago. We know how to melt it. And the water is essential not just for human life, which is obvious. Otherwise, you're carrying up water on rockets from the Earth, which is a really heavy and inefficient way to do it. If the water's already there in a very low gravity environment, so it's easier to move around to other places you need, that becomes a really big thing. But that's not even the most of it. The bigger point is you can split water into its hydrogen and oxygen components, and now you've got rocket fuel. You've also got breathable atmosphere. So this is essential. We've got to actually have control of the south pole of the moon. The Chinese are on it. We're on it. Trump gets it. Elon knows it. And this will be the location of the first city in space. That is going to happen, and it's going to be important to the development of near-Earth asteroids, which have incredible resources available, and all of cislunar space, which is going to be more and more important.
I have to leave it at that. Rod Martin, come back soon. I hope the rest of you will do the same next time. Until then, go forth and multiply.